Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to December favourites, the final favourites of 2021. It is a smaller selection of products today, which is not a bad thing because there are less of them, but these are mighty. These are like fire products that we're going to talk about today. December is typically a quieter makeup month. There's fewer launches in December than some of the other months, especially after like the holiday season rush that happens in October, November, and sometimes even September. And then there's another one that just rushes us in January and February as well. So I feel like December is a bit of a breather to spend money on Christmas presents rather than makeup. So there's definitely less products here than usual, but it's not a bad thing because, as I said, these are delightful. So first up, let's talk about the Natasha Denona Glam palette, the light version. So this was new to me this month. Obviously this came out a little while ago now, but I originally picked up the deep version and this one was like sold out everywhere. Now, this palette came very close to joining the pile of products that I wanted but took too long to either come to the UK or be available to me, and I just decided I'm bored now. I don't want it anymore. I was starting to feel that way about this palette. It was taking ages to come back into stock, and then when it did, I especially was waiting for it to come to Feel Unique because I had a load of points saved up there, and I also have my 10% off. Natasha Denona is one of my brand for life, so I get 10% off, plus I had I think £15 of points. So I got this for like at least half price, if not less, so don't tell me a bargain was not had. It came back in stock just about in the nick of time before I decided I'm not going to pick it up. I don't want it anymore. I've moved on. And thank goodness, because I love this palette. I love it so much. I love the deep version. I love this one so much more. It's just perfect for like every day for me. These two shimmer shadows, I know lots of people feel like they wish they were like more different to each other. Let me show you them together. So I mean, they are different. They're not identical at all, but I have seen people comment that. It doesn't bother me. The shine of these shadows is glorious. The perfect transition, the 3 shades of transition that I could ever need. I love this blush colour. Again, I thought the blush was going to be too pink in this palette, but it's actually quite peachy neutral on me. I was pleasantly surprised. The highlight, I'm not a huge fan of. I do prefer the highlight in the other palette. This one is just, it's that icy shade. It's just a bit too light for me. So then it leaves a bit of a cast, but that's fine. The rest of it is such a joy and it's just so pretty. It's the prettiest little, I wish she'd released this as like a 5-pan because this is the greatest 5-pan of all time. Just saying. So many of you have been waiting for my thoughts on this fragrance, and this is a Tom Ford Ebene Fume perfume, the latest from the Private Blend collection. I managed to get this a bit, well, it was purchased a bit early because my husband spotted it in Heathrow Airport when he was on his way to a work trip. So I asked him to grab it. It was an amazing price and it hadn't actually launched officially yet. But then I had to wait for him to get home before I could try it. And last month, if you watch my favourites, I had a fragrance collaboration, so I felt like there was too many fragrances going on in that video already, so I pushed this one back to talk about in my December favorites. That's why it's taken me a long time. I just wanted to really get my thoughts on it and give it its time without being lost among 10 other fragrances. This is a beautiful fragrance. This is definitely not my typical scent, so that's the thing. If you guys think, oh, because you like Angel Share that you know I like, or you like Beckham Rouge 540 that you know I love, and you're thinking this is a safe blind buy because I like the same fragrances as Charlotte, I would go easy. I would hold your horses because this is very different to those typical fragrances that I've spoken about before that I love. Yes, this is like a smoky, sexy, warm scent, but this is so much more incensey woodsy than my typical go-to scents. This is nothing like those other fragrances that I've mentioned, so just bear that in mind. This is a step out of my usual fragrance comfort zone. This is way more masculine, way more smoky, way more woodsy than my typical. It's a lot sharper as well. The initial scent, like spray of this, is harsh and it is potent, like whoosh, catch a breath kind of potent, and it is just full on incensey for me. The opening and even in the middle, it's just mainly a huge smoky incense bomb. In the kind of dry down, it takes on just a hair bit of the sweetness, but it's not vanilla-y sweetness, it's that sweetness from like resiny, just a hair just takes the edge off. The dry down is delightful. It's gorgeous. This definitely doesn't have the performance of some of my other favorite fragrances. Initially, it's incredibly strong and potent, but it's not especially long wearing. And the sillage, once it's settled down, is not huge. Like, I don't get a lot of people commenting on this fragrance, so bear that in mind. I'm really enjoying it as like around the house evening fragrance, and I love it on my husband as well, but it is definitely a little outside my comfort zone and much more masculine, much more smoky, but in an incensey way as opposed to tobacco-y than what I prefer. I really like it, I really appreciate it, and I just like having a close personal scent experience with it, especially around the house on cold days. It's lovely. It's like a warm cuddle, but it's definitely a little different for me. So bear that in mind if you're thinking this is a safe blind buy because I like all Charlotte's fragrances. This is not like the others. But I am going to be talking about another fragrance that is much more like my normal cup of tea in a moment. So hang fire. All is not lost. So next up, I'm going to talk about this blush palette from Nars. This is what she called the high, I can never remember what anything's called. Have you noticed? This is High Profile. That's the name of her. This is an absolute delight. I love these blush palettes. This is potentially, probably, in fact it is. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's commit. Hop down off that fence. This is my favorite one of these palettes from Nars ever. I just love it so much. What I love about it that kind of takes it to first place, or top spot, if you will, is that it's just full of blush. It's all blush apart from one highlight, and the highlight is a surprise. It's lovely. It's really nice. It's a melt into your skin, more of a luminosity than you might expect, and it's lovely. Really nice highlight, which I never think I'm going to use the other shades, the highlights in these palettes. This one I do, and I really like it. But the thing about this palette is 1, 2, 3, 4 perfect Charlotte blushes. My perfect shades, absolutely adore them. We've got like some peachy, orangey red blushes. We've got some neutrals. It's literally everything I could want there. It's like they made a palette especially for me, but they thought I'd like this one, and it's just not really. This is not my shade. This is like a pinky berry blush, nothing that I would typically wear, but it is, don't get me wrong, it's a very nice blush. It's just not my colour. These other 4 are all my colours of blush. So flattering. I love this formula. It's the perfect like satin finish. I don't know why I swiped that like literally on the edge of my hand, but it is what it is. But I mean, it's so wearable. All of these shades are wearable every day with every makeup. The packaging is so cute. They give me joy. I'll never get sick of them. This is the best one yet. You know, sometimes they include like a lot of highlights in there, different coloured highlights or some bronzes or whatever. This is like for the blush lovers. I mean, I could have done without the highlight, don't get me wrong, and had another blush in there, and I'd have probably loved it even more. But this one is just, it's like for me. It's forget the colours you won't use, the shimmery, colourful highlights that I won't reach for. It's just blush after blush of heaven and joy. Sounds a bit like a Christmas song, you know? Next, let's talk about these eyeshadows from Lisa Eldridge, her liquid Lurex eyeshadows. Not my typical type of product. I'm not really a single shadow kind of girl. I like my palettes. I'm not a liquid anything kind of girl other than like foundation. That's about the only one that I'm a fan of. These are so easy and so pretty and so nice. I have a full review, demo, swatches and everything of all 3 of these on my channel if you've missed it. They're just so easy, and the formula is fantastic. It dries down quite quickly. You have enough time to give a bit of a blend, make sure you got it where you want it to, but then it sets so it doesn't crease, it doesn't crumble off, it doesn't move around during the day, it doesn't wear away. They're absolutely fantastic. The formula of them is brilliant. I love Angelica. Angelica, I said, is my favorite shade, and I think it is, but Bianca is, you know, she's holding her own as well. She is definitely like a one and done, the easiest, prettiest shade ever. This is Angelica, sorry, by the way. This is Bianca we'll do next. Bianca, I just think if you are like a bit afraid of eyeshadow and you want something really impactful that's super easy, I mean, whatever colour of this that you like will tick that box, it's just down to you. But the shine of this and the impact, you know, a light wash of this all over the eye and just buffed into the crease a little with the edges, and you've got like the easiest, best, most beautiful New Year's Eve party look. They're so fun. The formula is amazing. What more is there to say? Next up, this month I picked up a new shade of the, this is the wrong one. Next up this month, I picked up a new shade of the Victoria Beckham bronzer. So I usually use shade 4, and this month I picked up shade 3. It's the bronzer I have on today. It's obviously lighter. I was going to say it's lighter than the other one. That seems obvious. I know. Obviously my skin tone is lighter in the winter than in the summer, considerably so. But also I find in winter that my undertone is more like warm. It's a warmer olive than in summer, and therefore different bronzers kind of work better for me. So in summer I like a really red tone bronzer because that's kind of the natural colour of my skin tone, and that's the shade that my skin goes when the sun naturally tans it. Whereas in winter I have more of a kind of classic warm tone to my skin, so I prefer maybe a warmer bronzer, suits me better, is a bit more natural. So that's what I was going for, and the bronzer is just, here we go. So this is shade 3 and this is shade 4. You can see there's a big difference, but also in undertone. So the shade 4 is much darker, shade 3 much lighter, but also we've got the reddish undertone in here and a more classic warm tone in here. This, when I first saw it, I thought, well, that's a bit too light for me, I think. I think the light maybe made it look lighter then than it was as well, but it's not, it's perfect. So I mainly use this shade in here for my bronzer, and it's perfect. It's warm, warmer than shade 4, but very natural. You can see it's not orange and it's not muddy, and it helps me because I can build this one up. Whereas in winter I have to be quite careful with shade 4. I have to use a little amount, you know, blend. This one, it's working in the opposite direction. I build this one up, and that's kind of a bit easier and safer in winter than going over the top and looking a bit muddy or looking just a bit harsh on my skin tone. This one, the formula is just as amazing as shade 4. It's my favourite bronzer, and shade 3 is perfect for winter. So if you're closer to my winter skin tone, that shade 3 is perfect. Now, not a new product, and not a new product to me, but a kind of rediscovered product for me, and this is one of Pat McGrath's blushes. This is in the shade Paradise Venus. This one gets so neglected by me, or because I have Desert Orchid and I have Nude Venus that are kind of like, you know, they have some glow to them, so therefore they're top drawer, they're top of the list, they're my favourite shades, and I just kind of forget about this one. I used this a couple of times this month and was like, what's happening? It's gorgeous. It's the blush I have on today. It's just this like reddy nude, like coppery, slight hint of coppery tone. Again, I think I was a little scared of it because, as you can see, it is quite deep. I used the lightest hand, fluffiest brush, touch it in there, tap it off, the tiniest amount, and it's gorgeous. This would be glorious on deeper skin. It's going to look a lot more subtle on you, but blend it in, it takes on this gorgeous texture, and it's more of a satin, I would say, than a matte. I think that's another reason I lean away from it, because it's a matte, but it's definitely got some luminosity in there, and it's such a flattering, gorgeous colour. Used with the light hand on me, I absolutely love it. It's so beautiful, and it's one I forget about all the time, but this month I remembered about her, and she is good. So I had a bit of a skin related issue this month. A little bit of a strange mystery happened. I woke up one day with like what I thought was either an allergic reaction or a complete I've destroyed and ruined my face moment. I don't really know. I wish I had taken photos of it when it was at its worst, but obviously at the time, that's really not something you feel like doing. But basically I had a very, very red, like pimply skin situation, and it was itchy as well. I just didn't know at first what was going on, but what I thought was happening is that I'd like overdone the actives. I was using a very strong toner, I was using my retinol, and I started using a new vitamin C serum. I just didn't really think about the combination of all these products, and therefore I thought what I'd done is I just destroyed my skin barrier. So that's what my initial assumption was. And what I did is I started using this mask. I went through all my skincare, everything, and I found this Ren Overnight Recovery Balm for sensitive skin. And it saved my life, okay? So it's like a balm, as you might expect from the name. Groundbreaking information here, people. But it's kind of like a solid, you get it out and you kind of massage it into your hands and it goes into like a clear, really thick, lovely, soothing balm. So I would literally painting this on with a brush, the thickest layer. Whenever I didn't have makeup on, I was trying not to wear makeup. I stopped all my skincare and I just had this on my face like all time, overnight, all day long. If I wasn't going out the house, this was like a thick layer was on my face, and it helped so much. It was really soothing. It took away the itch. It took down the heat. Now, what I now know is that actually that was most likely a rash, which was probably related to my COVID that I had a few weeks before this started. It's like a symptom. It's quite a common symptom, this COVID rash, and that's what we think it now was. But either way, whatever it was, now it's gone. This like saved me throughout that time. Whether or not it was down to this, that it healed so well and it improved so quickly and got better so quickly over time, quite possibly, but it definitely helped at the time, just with soothing and taking down the itch and the redness and the heat and everything and the soreness in my skin, because it was just an absolute dream and it helped so much. So I was so grateful that I was sent this. I think this is in a Look Fantastic beauty box, and oh my goodness, this is going to stay forever just in case of skin related emergencies, because it was lovely. Now, another Victoria Beckham purchase. She's done very well in this house this month. After I tried Chiffon, one of the new shades of Victoria Beckham's Lid Lustre, I had to pick up another shade. I said in that video, oh, I like these. These are nice. I want to try more shades. So I purchased the shade Honey. This is like one that I had my eye on for a long time, but I wasn't sure if it was going to quite be what I was looking for. And then when Chiffon came along, I was like, oh, that's it. Honey is absolutely beautiful as well. I'm so glad that Chiffon made me pick up Honey, because I love them both. They are quite different. Let me swatch them next to each other. Obviously Chiffon I reviewed and demoed as a new shade. They are quite different. I do think I prefer Chiffon because it's just a bit brighter on me and my skin tone. So I have Chiffon on today and it's just a bit brighter. It stands out a bit more. Honey is much more soft and subtle. So, you know, a work day, an office day, this is just going to give you a very natural look to the eye. If I want a bit more party, a bit more to it, a bit more punch, then Chiffon is the way to go. Honey is just the most natural wash of shine on the lid, and it's so pretty. So they are definitely quite different. They serve different purposes for me, but the formula on both is just gorgeous, and the finish is like the beautiful, pretty shine that I really like. So again, these single shadows, they're trying to make a play for my attention. And last but by no means least, the second fragrance I want to talk to you about this month, and this is Mancera's Instant Crush. This is definitely a much more safe blind buy if you know you like my type of fragrances. If especially you like Baccarat Rouge, you cannot not like this one. They're very similar. They are absolutely of the same ilk, the same type of beasts. Mancera is an incredible house. I have a few of their fragrances. The performance is always phenomenal beast mode. They last eternally long wearing. Sillage is amazing. Everyone's going to be able to smell it on you, and it's going to wear all day through a shower. That's kind of Mancera's typical performance, and this is no less. When I first got this, it first arrived, I did a couple of sprays on my wrist because I already had another perfume on, and I literally wore it all day, went to the gym, had a shower, went to bed, could still smell it the next day without even sniffing my wrist. It was just wafting around me. The performance is like the best of the best. Instant Crush, it is very similar to Baccarat Rouge 540. If you like that saffron note, which I love a saffron in my fragrances, you like that kind of mysterious, what is it? It's that sexy, sweet, almost something burnt about it kind of note that 540 has. Instant Crush has all of that. It's if you just slightly take the edge off the sweetness. Instant Crush starts off a bit fruitier and a bit lighter than Baccarat Rouge, but in the dry down it's a hair less sweet. So it kind of starts off sweeter and then it loses the top of its sweetness as it dries down. Baccarat Rouge is quite linear. It's like it sprays the same when you first spray it on, and then throughout the day it pretty much stays as it is. This one has a bit more of a journey as it dries down. It kind of starts off a bit fresh with the ginger notes and the citrusy notes in the top, but then as it dries down, the sweetness kind of just slightly dissipates and it just becomes this gorgeous, warm, almost green sweetness. It's just so beautiful. I absolutely love it. It's an instant win, an instant love, an instant favourite. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this, my final favourites of 2021. I hope you have a great, happy new year, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye, 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 bye.